Okay, we want to bold the hello world paragraph. So we have the B, which stands for the bold, open, and then the B tag, close. So this will bold the hello world. So this is the B and the bold tag, which is the B, open here and close here. So when we go back to the browser, so the hello world has been what? Bolded. So that's the B tag, the bold tag. There are a lot of HTML tags out there, and I would advise you after this lecture to go to the W3 School C School website to go and read on the HTML tags they are using. Then let's look at the table tag. The table tag has the parent tag with the table open at the table here. It is open and what? Close. So in the table tag, we have the header. So the table tag is made up of the heading, which is the TR. Then you have the rows, sorry, the heading, which is the TH, table head. Then you have the table rows, which is the rows. And we have the table data. Sorry, rows. The rows are here, and the data is TD. So basically, in between the table tag, we have the TH, which stands for the headings, the rows, and then the data. So let's look at this. So we have our TH, which stands all this embodied in the T head tag. So we open a T head tag and we put the TH inside. Number one, the number. We are designing the course registration printout. Then we see the course name. These are the headings of the table headings, TH. And oh, sorry, course code before course name. Then we have the credit hour of the course. See, all the TH have been open and closed. So then we come to the table body. So in the table body, so the table is made up of the head, the body, and the footer. Table is made up of head, body, which is the data, and a footer. So these are the main components of a HTML table. We have the head, which is the TH, and then the data, and then the footer. So you see the heading here, you have the body, then you can have the T footer too. So in the T body, that's where the data will go. If it is in a dynamic language like JSP, PHP, or Ruby, the data from the database will be populated in between the table body here. So you open TRs, and in between the TR, you have our T data or the table data. So every row and each data. So number one, the course code is ICT 204. The course name is a web technology 2. We upload the TDs. Credit is every 3 credits. So you see, you have the opening of the table and then the closing. Make sure your document is well formatted. Indentation is very, very important. Very, very important here. This is the table heading, the body which contains the table data, and then the footer, which is not that important. So when we go back to our browser and run this is what we will get. So number one course code is this, web tech 2. This is the exact size. I have increased the font size of my browser so that you can all see clearly. So this table here, if you want the borders to appear, we will go and say we will format this table with the property border is equal to 1. So this border is a property of the element table. Border is a property of the element table. And this border, when we set by default 0, it shows a table without a border. So there's no border by default on this table. When I make the border equal to 1, then the table will have a border. See, so now we have a table. You see. So this is how we design HTML documents. You must follow the syntax. And every HTML element has a property. Border is a property, and the attribute, and then the element is the table tag. Okay, so this is how we design tables in HTML. We have call span, row span, they are all properties of the HTML table. So you can go to W362, go to this website to go and read more. You go to this website, you read a lot about HTML and the CSS. You get a lot of info there. So this is how we design tables in HTML. When you are done, you reload the page, you get your content neatly displayed. So let's look at forms. Forms are used to collect data from users or agents of our site. When we want to collect data from our users, example admission form, we design an HTML form that we use to collect data. Let's say we are collecting data regarding population, you have of your name, your region, your location, your phone number, your email. So HTML forms are basically elements used to collect data from users. So all HTML forms start with the form tag, open, then form tag, close. You see we have our form tag here, open, and the form tag here, close. So here we have a form here, and then the element that the form also have properties or attributes. You have the method, whether it's going to be a post or a get method. We studied these things last semester. So this method is just, this form is just sending a get, like a Google search form, just a get in the URL in the browser. So you see the action, which page, when you click submit, where should this page form submit its data to? When you say the action, we are referring to the page or the site where this form must submit the data to or send the data we have collected from the user to. So you say this action should be on the same page. If you don't bring the action, the system will default make the current page you are typing to be the source of the data to receive the source. The destination of the data the user is posting or sending the get to. So we have the action, the method, a format can also get a name or have a name. You say maybe registration or let's say admission. So you see I've opened the form, and these are what we call attribute or properties. The spacing between the method, action, and name. You can a form must have can have what? An ID. When you are doing CSS, you have an ID or a class. You come to that when you are learning to start with CSS. So this form here, in the form we have paragraphs. Paragraph 1, let's say your name. We are using the span tag to mean your name. Then they are all in one paragraph. Then we have the input tag. Input. The type is text. So the input is a tag, and then the property we have the type of input you want, whether it's a text, a button, a radio button, a select, or whatever. You have to specify it here. If you don't specify by default, it will give you a text input. Then every HTML element must have a name. So here you see name tag. So when you are doing dynamic languages, doing PHP, Python, ASP, you collect the data in this input based on the name, using the name to send it to the server. But here we are just doing raw HTML program coding. So we are not sending anything to any server here. So the input type is text and the name is name. Or let's say if this is first name, let's say first name. So we say F name. Then HTML has every input has another property called the required. Whether this field is required or not, compulsory. When you go to some website, they tell you all field marks in asterisks are required. They bring the required property here to force the user to provide data for this form. So we have the input type is text. The name, when we are sending this to a server, we are doing ASP, JSP, or PHP, or Ruby, we will need this name to be collected from the form. So you go here. When we run this in the browser, you have to get an HTML page, HTML form here. See. Name Papo. So I ask you, what's your first name? And there. So this is how we design the admission form one after the other. All the elements you've been seeing, the input, they are designed one after the other. So let's copy another paragraph. Make sure when you open, you put so I don't forget. You have the span tag. It's last name. Last name. Then we have the input. Type is text. The name is L name or last name, whatever is appropriate. And we say, is this element required by force for the user to provide the details? Yes, it's required. So when we are done, move to the last item. You say gender. Open span gender. So the gender should be a radio button or a select so that the user will not type. Should be something that you can select one at a time. If you give the user a text to type his gender, it will tell you my gender is M. Another one will tell you male. Another one will provide M. So we want a unique data to be provided here. So we'll give it a radio button. So you say input type. Input.